Oh, I should have started recording before I went live, though. Hey guys, we're live now. Welcome to the show, New
Oh, here
England.
we go.
Oh, I
What's
forgot.
going on?
I got my new You guys gonna see it if you have your phones. I actually have my new banner that Walt, our buddy, made for us. Now I have three banners. I have one for the podcast room over there, a back banner, and a traveling banner for us guys, man. So we're changing things up every week or now, man. Adding little things. So welcome to the show again, guys.
Thank you, man.
Oh,
Yeah, always upgrading, right? We're always trying to bring things to the next level and make it look as professional as we can.
So, guys, how was your week? What's today? Tuesday. How was your weekend? I should say.
busy restaurant industry, baby.
Uh,
We're up.
I went I went ice skating tonight with my kids, and I haven't ice skated in probably 20 years, and I definitely pulled my groin. So I'm nursing a pulled groin after spending 15 minutes on the ice with my kids,
I,
but it was fun.
I'm sure you'll feel it even more spots tomorrow, brother. Like them quads,
Yeah,
the
dude.
hamstrings, all that
You're
stuff.
using like weird muscles that you've never used in a long time, and yeah, it was good to get out there, but it made me realize how friggin' old I am. Like I just turned 40, and it's depressing. But
Well, Travis, you talked about the restaurant industry. We never really talk about what we do other than MMA and do shit. But you work at a restaurant, Travis. It's you've been working through and not through the COVID situation and all that. But now it's kind of booming. You're working every fucking night, right?
Yeah, well, right now, I work at a little local establishment called Pepperell Cove here in Kittery Point, just a town over from where I live. And yeah, it's a great business to work for. I really love it. But we have a couple chef owners who hadn't had a vacation in a bunch of years, so they headed off to Brazil, to where one of our chefs is from. So I picked up some time in the kitchen, which I haven't done in a few years, since I've been a server in the front of the house for a little while. Picked up some shifts just to help them out, try to do my thing, be the team player, because they're always really good to me. So
Well, Travis, you're no stranger to cooking. I mean, you've had plenty of posts that made people drool and want to go out to a restaurant immediately with some of your homemade creations, man. Where's the background from the cooking come from? How'd you pick that up?
well, growing up, my grandmother owned a little restaurant. It was just a breakfast lunch place in downtown South Berwick, where I kind of where I grew up, and I grew up in the kitchen there, just learning, watching my grandparents do what they did, watching my mom do what she did when she was at home. I mean, the greatest cooks to learn from are the people that are closest to you. So that's where I learned all my stuff from. And then after high school, I became a welder. I was a nuclear welder for about 6 years, and it just wasn't for me. And then when I tried to get back out into the working world, I had to think, what skills do I already have in my back pocket that I can just parlay into a career? So I started out in some kitchens, went through a few kitchens here on the seacoast, cooked for probably 5.5, 6 years. And then I worked for a very well-known restaurant, Vita Cantina, here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And they opened up another restaurant that was a barbecue restaurant. And one night they were down a server. They came into the kitchen, asked who had ever served at a restaurant before. I raised my hand, and the rest is history.
Awesome, my man. Awesome, Lars. You're a professional industry behind the desk on the phone, Skype meetings, and all that good stuff, wheeling and dealing, right?
yeah. I been in the insurance industry for 15 years in sales, and now I've been doing some marketing stuff with Dempsey Marketing Group. So doing a lot of consulting for businesses when it comes to their marketing plans and logos, strategies, how they want to engage their audience. So it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit different than what I've been doing. Insurance is a little different than marketing to a degree, but I've always been in that sales marketing world. And yeah, so nothing sexy, but I my passion really lies in MMA and managing fighters and what we have going at NewEnglandMMA.org. That's my true passion, and hopefully it turns into a full-time gig someday. But at this point, you got to pay the bills.
Well, let's talk about that New England and New England MMA and what's been going on. Before we talk about local news and shit going on out there, Lars, you've been doing a great job with the rankings and giving nice write-ups on each individual division there, man. You are up to the middleweights now. You just released that today, correct?
Yep. Yeah, we released the middleweights today. The rankings are already out there, so everybody knows who's already ranked where. But I think it kind of adds a little flavor and a little color to the rankings when, you kind of go through them in a little more detail and talk about some of these guys and what they've been doing and where they're going. So, that's fun. And we'll go through all the pros and the amateurs here soon. So, just trying to give these guys some shine and hopefully, get to the next level.
Yeah, and I'm sure when we get to the amateurs, I mean, some of the divisions, there's not so much to, there is some to write about, but these kids haven't had these long careers like the pros that you're writing about now. So, they'll be shortened up and we'll get them all out there. But you're doing a fabulous job highlighting the fighters, their careers, and, how they got to where they are in the rankings, from their past experiences. So with that said, man, where you guys want to start? There was a lot of shit that's going on. We talked a couple of weeks ago when I think we brought out the rankings. It might have even been 3 weeks ago. I can't tell now, but hey, man, where do you want to start? There's a lot of shit going on. A couple of announcements of big fights coming this weekend. Tell you where you want to start. I'll hit Instagram. We can go look at anything you want to look at. So throw it out there.
Yeah, I think I think the big news recently was Premier having some issues paying some of their fighters. I don't think we need to talk about that. We've already hashed that over. But I think what we need to do is talk about some of these upcoming cards that we have here on the horizon. It's been a little bit of time since we've had a local show in New England just because of the holidays. It's typically a downtime for a lot of these promotions. But we got a full slate coming up. We got Cage Titans 51 on February 5th. We should talk about that. We got NEF on the next week on February 12th. We have Donnybrook up in Vermont, which I believe is February 19th, if I'm correct. Then we have Cage Titans Combat Night 3 on February 25th. So we have 4 weeks in a row. And then right after that, we have CES 66 on March 4th. So that's literally 5 weeks in a row. We have local fights going on starting, a week and a half from now.
Yeah,
so we got a full slate of action going on, which is awesome. And, we'll be at most of those events, highlighting them, putting our previews out. And, I think there's a lot of fights on those cards that we should definitely tap into.
Well, what card you want to just, or what, not card, but what announcement or where you want to look? Some, Cage Titans had a big announcement that has to do with full contact management also. And a lot of fighters that are going to be on that February 5th card from the full contact management side, man. Let's talk about that first card, Cage Titans, man. It's looking to be something pretty special, the first card of, the year here.
Yeah, Travis, take it away, brother.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a great card. Cage Titans is always a great show. Full contact management. We got some guys on the card. We got Jake Hicksonbaugh. He'll be fighting on the card. We also have Jacob Bone, who's fighting in the main event against Joe Giannetti, and we have Jeff Joy on that card as well. Who'll be fighting Michael Titan Taylor out of New York. So that's pretty big for us. 3 guys on one card. We're super happy to have it. We got some guys coming up as well on the fight, the Combat Night card as well. So we can talk about that later. But we're super excited for Cage Titans. How could you not be? Great venue, great fights, great list of team members on the card. I feel like it just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, and I think like when you talk about Cage Titans, like I've been involved in this game for 12 years now in the region. And my first Cage Titan show at Plymouth Memorial Hall was probably 4 years ago. And I was blown away by the product that Michael Povere puts out and the atmosphere and the energy in that room. There's nothing like you can compare it to in New England. It gives you goosebumps when you got a packed house like that. It's stadium seating. If you've never been to a Cage Titan show at Plymouth Memorial Hall and you're an MMA fan in New England, you have to go check out one of their shows. I know the show on February 5th is pretty close to sold out, so if you're going to get tickets, get them soon. Obviously, we have some guys that we manage will be on that card. A few of the fights fell off due to COVID issues, and we can get into that. One of them, Shane Manley versus Don Chanus, which is, in my opinion, one of the best 145 scraps that we've seen in New England in quite some time. Two evenly matched fighters, two grinders. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of cardio, and it's going to be a blast. That's supposed to have happened on the February 5th card, but unfortunately, Shane came down with COVID. He had to be out of the gym for a week and a half, 2 weeks, so he couldn't train at the level he needed to for a 5-round fight against a fighter like Don Chanus. And Don Chanus, being the professional that he is, said, yep, that's totally cool. Let's push it off to the next card. And Mike Povere, being the professional that he is, essentially, got this second card created out of thin air on February 25th. It's a Friday night show, which is a little different for Cage Titans. But Don Chanus for Shane Manley will be the headliner of that show, which will be fucking amazing. That will be an awesome fight. So that fight fell off to the next card. And then we also had Colin Robinson, who's 3-0 AMI, who's going to fight for the Cage Titans middleweight amateur belt. That fight got pushed off as well due to COVID. So we're trying to reschedule that for hopefully, March, April timeframe. And shout out to Colin Robinson, Superman. He, Travis is repping his shirt right now. So get on there, grab his swag, get some drip. And Colin Robinson's the next big thing in the middleweight division here in New England, so keep an eye on him. But Mike Povere and Cage Titans always, doing things for the fighters, and their marketing's amazing. Their matchups are great. The venue is, crazy. And if you have a chance to go and watch that show in person, get a ticket soon. And it gives me goosebumps to think about some of the times that I've been there and seen some high octane fights, and I think both you guys can attest to that as well.
Well, Lars, in this conversation, you mentioned Combat Night coming up, and that was announced yesterday on Table Titans, and that is the card that Chanus and our guy there, Manley, are gonna go at it. So that was the first. I mean, you heard tricklings, and you were having conversations with Mike Povere, but yesterday was the first announcement of that, correct? So
yeah, go ahead.
So you listened in on the podcast and stuff. Well, what's going on with that card? So it's going to be, do you know what's entailed as far as the combat? Are they going to have that small glove fights, or is it just going to be amateur fights as far as the Muay Thai section?
Yeah, I think it's going to run the gamut. And honestly, I've been in touch with Povere throughout this whole process of trying to get the second card lined up once Manley and Chanus got pushed off. And we've kept, in touch pretty closely. And what Mike Povere did to get this fight off the ground for February 25th is insane. The guy's a machine. He never stops working. The long and short of it is there were some hurdles to get over when it came to the athletic commission. And Mike got over those hurdles, and it wasn't an easy task. And I tip my cap to him because, he basically, there wasn't sign off to get this card going until literally, less than a week ago. So, Mike's effort and his resiliency, his due diligence, and his relentlessness paid off and allowed him to get this fight going. But there's not many people in this industry, not only in New England but in the country, that puts as much effort and passion behind these cards that Mike Colbert does. So I gotta give a shout out to him. Those are the guys that help elevate this sport in the region. Those are the guys that help get these fighters to the next level, and those are the guys that honestly we should all want to be involved with. So I don't want to sound like a Cage Titans fluffer here, but in reality, like, they're doing it right. They're doing good things, and I hope that the promoters in New England take note and put in half the effort that Mike Colbert does when it comes to putting these cards together, because the guy never stops working. He'll message me at 2 a.m., 4 a.m. Whether it's about matchups or what do you think about that? We're always going back and forth and putting ideas together, and so it's really cool to see that card come together.
Excellent. As far as what you know about the Muay Thai section, do you know what's going on with that? That you can say, or he's already given out?
I know there's definitely, it's a combat night, which Cage Titans labels it a combat night, which means you're going to see some small glove Muay Thai. You'll probably see some traditional Muay Thai. You're definitely going to see some MMA fights, pro and amateur, and there may be even a grappling, fight in there, grappling match in there as well. So it's going to be more of a mix of the combat sports than you typically see from a Cage Titans card. But hey, I think it's great. The more opportunity these guys have to get in the cage and compete and kind of hone their craft, the better off we all are for this.
Excellent. Travis, you want to add anything before we move on?
Just quickly, like Lars said, the amount of time that Michael puts into these cards is ridiculous. But he does this combat night. I think it's a great thing to take the up and coming guys, or maybe guys who haven't decided to go into the realm of MMA. They're still stand-up strikers, or they intend to stay stand-up strikers, and put them on a card with like a main event like Chanus and Manley, and then have some pros underneath that. It's a really nice way to do an up-and-coming show with still a lot of intrigue with that big main event, and I think he does it right when he does those.
Excellent. Well, before we move on, tomorrow night I will have on Arthur Mapufu, and I will have our boy there, Jake. Yeah, the Hitman. Yeah, making his pro debut. And I'll have them both on separately, of course, but they'll be on tomorrow night.
If I can get his fucking medical, Jake, send me your fucking medicals. He's a young kid, and I'm staying on top of him. But
say it.
We're getting close.
Yeah. All right, I'll
he's all right.
Stay on the feed.
He's got him. I just need him to send him to me. Like his doctor wanted my fax number. I'm like, who the fuck has a fax number anymore? Like I have an email address. Like his doctor was gonna fax it to me. I'm like, I don't have a fax number.
Maybe we
need
maybe New England MMA needs a fax number.
I guess so.
All right, guys. Let's move on to this weekend. We have 3 fighters. One adopted New Englander in Blaine. I'm sorry, and then we have 2 New Englanders in Jorgen and Mr. Howard, fighting in Miami. So who you want to talk to and talk about first here?
I can talk a little bit about Eagle FC 44.
Let's go.
It's the first time Eagle FC, owned by former lightweight world champion Khabib Nurmagomedov. It's the first time they're going to be fighting over here at the States. They're going to be fighting in Miami, and it's a banger of a card. Sergey Karatanov against Tyron Spong is the main event. 2 combat veterans, and it trickles down to be a pretty nice card. Jorgen is fighting Sean, and I can't remember
Hester. What is it?
Asher.
Sean
Asher. He's 13-4-1. Fought a little bit for Baleto. A big matchup, and that didn't even make the main card. You got a former UFC guy against a really a Bellator veteran, and that's on the prelim. So that great card. Then you got like you said, John Doomsday Howard is fighting. He's fighting one of those Dagestanis with 1 loss that names all kind of sound familiar, so I don't really have that right now. Also, Anthony Njokuani, he's on that card, former UFC welterweight. Let's see, Ray Borg. Yeah, it's a loaded card. It's a good opportunity for Jorgen after getting out of that win at CES, coming off a 3-fight losing streak in the UFC, and getting back into the win column at CES, and then signing a multi-fight deal with Khabib's company, who is a global promotion at this point, coming over to the States, being in Miami, first card over in the States. I think it's just a big thing,
Here's my question, Travis and Steve. Eagle FC, they're blasting onto the scene. They've actually put on 43 shows previously.
Yeah,
I think most of them
before
in Russia,
Khabib,
right?
yeah, before Khabib was even a thought taking them over.
Yeah, and so Khabib buys them. He bought them over a year ago, and now he's throwing out, it seems like, really high purses, which is great. I love it. And Jorgen's been public saying that he's making just as much money in this 4-fight deal with Eagle FC that he made with the UFC. So the UFC's lowest pay scale is typically $12,000 a show, $12,000 a win. So let's assume Jorgen's making at least that much money on the undercard, and then you have a couple guys who've been cut from the UFC. Ray Borg. You have Rashad Evans.
Evans, yep.
Who's like 43-ish.
UFC Hall of Famer, making his combat sports comeback. I mean, it's
he's got all these guys, and then he's got some up and comers that he's mixing in there, like Jorgen. But is that a business model that is lucrative? And they're not going to have any fans in attendance. It's just pay-per-view. So, and it's not through UFC Fight Pass.
And it's free. It's free.
It's going to be shown for free.
Yeah.
So, like, how I know, Khabib's got some money stacked away from his fighting days, but he wasn't like a pro boxer making $30, $40, $50 million a year.
He's a very frugal man, though. I mean, he doesn't spend an awful lot of money, and that guy could have just banked everything he was making. I mean, do you ever see Khabib doing anything other than training and being with his family and running and wrestling bears, dude? Like, you know what I mean?
No, I think you're right. Like, I think Khabib's got money, but like, where's this money coming from to pay these guys this type of money? With what's the revenue that's coming in? But it's a Russian company, so who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Maybe Vladimir Putin's behind it. Who knows? But it's not the typical business model you see for promotions here in the States. That have long-term success. And
I interrupt? Maybe a silent partner that is not officially on paper, like a Dana White, might have a little cash involved in that, because we know he's been to the shows. It isn't like something he was against. I'm sure he's backed Khabib, and he isn't fearing that promotion to do anything to harm what he's making. So I think it's something that might have been talked about when Khabib was thinking about leaving and stuff like that. And it's an investment for Dana, you know what I mean? It's fighters that could actually fight for him down the line too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we know Khabib's a great fighter, but is he a good businessman? I guess is what it comes down to.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's just like the president of the United States. He don't know what the fuck he's doing, but he's got 20 people around him that do, you know what I mean? Or try to, you know what I mean? So
exactly.
Right. Yeah, but hopefully it works out. But like, I wouldn't be investing in Rashad Evans at 43 years old right now.
Yeah.
And he's probably paying him close to six figures to come and fight. And that I just don't see that as being a good investment from a business perspective. The margins are pretty thin on these promotions, but who knows? I hope it works out. But when you see that lineup, and I don't know where they're getting their revenue from. Like, how are they generating revenue for this fight if they're not doing pay-per-view, and it's for free online, and there's no fans in attendance? Where are they actually bringing in cash? You've got to ask those questions.
Uncle Dana. Or Putin.
Yeah, Travis, what do you think?
No, I think it's an interesting situation because I never looked at it as the no fans in attendance and free pay-per-view. I kind of just broke down the card a little bit, but if you put it that way, yeah, there's got to be some sort of investment behind it. But with anything, you got to make those big splashes. There'll probably be this is a flashy welcome to the United States. This is what we're here to do kind of thing. When you put names like this on a card and stack it up like that, could very well be for future investment to get people in the States watching Eagle FC. Now you put 6 or 8 former UFC guys, a couple Dagestani up and comers, and you get guys from all corners of the globe, so you can, maximize the fan base for your promotion. Great. Will it work? Well, time will tell. But I think it's a great idea. I going back to the no fans in attendance is always a weird thing to me. Brings me right back to mid-COVID when we're watching these fights where all you can hear is the corners and the announcers and stuff.
Well, all right.
It's a little weird.
Can I say one thing? It's going to be streamed for free. You know how many fucking people in Russia going to watch that friggin' stream? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there's sponsors that go along with that stream too. Even though it's free, there's going to be shit shown on that stream that has sponsors. Blah 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 blah. So they're bringing in revenue. So I mean, who knows what kind of stuff? You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I think, I mean, come on, we know the Khabib clan and them guys all from them areas are killing it in the US and the UFC. Wouldn't it be kind of in Dana's best interest to help and market these fighters that potentially can come this way at some point? Because I mean, they can't all fight for Eagle FC. You know what I mean? It's like, so I think it's more, I think where are they getting the money? It's like you said, it's like, I mean.
So here's my opinion. Like, I don't think Dana and Khabib left on great terms. Dana obviously wanted him to come back and fight. Khabib retired. I still think but Khabib's now becoming a really good coach. So he's got these guys that are up and coming. So Dana has to deal with them. But, it's not on UFC Fight Pass. So I'm assuming either Dana and the UFC either made a bid to get them on Fight Pass, and Khabib just said, nope, we're going to do our own thing. Or Dana and the UFC just said, we want nothing to do with them. Good luck. So I don't think it's going to be a feeder organization for him, to be honest, because, the business model, when I look at it from the outside, is kind of strange. It's like, why would you invest in Sugar Rasad Evans?
Yeah.
I have no fucking ideas. Why would you invest in Ray Borg? Like, I love those guys. They've done awesome things for the sport, but they are not fighters that have a long shelf life who are going to put asses in the seats.
Are they they fighting guys that are up and coming guys that can be stars? Like I'm not paying attention to the match.
Rasad Evans is fighting Checo. He's like 12-7 or something
so
like that.
All right, so these aren't guys that they're trying to.
And Ray Borg is fighting Cody, another former UFC guy. So it's a competitive fight. I think Borg's definitely got the experience advantage as far as UFC fights go and total fights, but their winning percentage is similar. They're both former UFC guys.
All right. Well, there you go. That is what, Friday night, correct?
Friday night. Yep.
Well, let's get to Saturday night, where another adopted New England son, #1 flyweight, the Shutdown, Blaine Shutt, heading to Baleto MMA in where, Phoenix, Arizona? Is that where he is?
Yeah, he's out in Phoenix. He left today. The Shutdown, repping some of his drip right here. What? Hop onto his store at newenglandmma.org. Grab some of his swag and help support, the Shutdown's cause. Because it's not cheap. These guys don't make a lot of money, and they need every penny to support their medical payments and training and travel and all this shit. So yeah, the Shutdown, man. He's flying out to Phoenix, Arizona to fight on the Bellator card, a rare Saturday night Bellator card. So it should be awesome. He's going up a weight class at 135, but he's been training with And I'd love to bring up Carolyn Wester, wrestling prep down in
Yep.
Virginia. She's, I've just gotten to know her recently, but some of her approaches and tactics are different and new. She's the head wrestling coach out at AKA American Kickboxing Academy in Sacramento, and she also has a wrestling school in Virginia. And Blaine has been training with her for this camp. And if you kind of dig into her techniques and her past and her philosophy, it all makes sense. And it's really really cool. So wrestling prep, Carolyn Wester, helping Blaine shut out. Blaine's going to be cornered by her and Javier Mendez from AKA, and it should be a fun night come Saturday night. And I know Blaine's been training his ass off. He didn't have a full fight camp, but he had 5 or 6 weeks to get ready for this. And props to Carolyn Wester. She's been on top of shit, and she's opened my eyes to a different way of looking at training for mixed martial arts. And I'm not sure if you guys have looked at what some of she's done, but she's definitely unique and cutting edge, but it all makes sense if you actually peel back that onion.
Most definitely. Travis, anything you want to say and talk about Blaine here and the card, or what's going?
No, I'd like to talk. I
Oh.
mean, Blaine's fighting a tough dude. We don't want that to go unnoticed. Guy's 8-1. Trains under Fedor Emelianenko. Blaine knows he's in for a tough fight, but Blaine, you can go back and look at his resume. Look at the people he has fought. He's fought some killers, and he doesn't intend to take the easy route to the top. So this is really going to show what Blaine's made of. His last fight went to decision with a former UFC guy. This is just another notch in the bedpost for Blaine Shutt. Go out there and kick some ass, man.
Did you say a notch in the bedpost, Travis?
Yep.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. And
So-
let's not smooth over the fact that we still want to see Shutt versus Raposo for the CES belt, right? I mean, the number 1 and the number 2 ranked fighters in New England. It needs to happen.
All
Let's
right,
see what goes on with
all right,
Bellator. But
let me ask you a question. I mean, Blaine's coming off a loss in Bellator. Mitch is coming off his first loss at where was the Contender Series, correct?
Yeah.
If Blaine loses again, which he's not going to, does that does that fight still make sense? You know what I mean? Is that something that you think Raposo will want to entertain if Blaine doesn't win this fight? And if Blaine does win this fight, he's probably going to he might get another Bellator fight or whatever, because CES isn't giving him a fucking fight. You know what I mean? So he's going to have to entertain other offers the way things have been
This
going.
is somewhat of a crossroads for Blaine. There's no question about it. A win here sends him probably sky high against this guy coming out of Fedor's camp. But a loss, I feel like losing on a Bellator stage, and I don't even want to talk about a loss on fight week for Blaine because it's not going to be a thing. So this is all just, whatever. This is what could be, but
hypothetical.
Yeah.
Hypothetical. Yeah, there you go. I couldn't think of the word. But yeah, this is all just hypothetical. If Blaine were to lose, I feel like you have to look at who he lost to and where he did it. This big time prospect out of Fedor's camp, this former UFC guy, both of those up a weight class from where he's a natural flyweight. He's fighting at bantamweight. I think you have to take that into consideration and then look at Mitch, where his loss came at the highest level too. It's just sometimes losses at those levels for regional guys that are on the cusp are more feathers in their cap than they really are a knock on their abilities.
Yeah, and Blaine, we've been more than respectful to. Obviously, we manage Blaine, so we've been more than respectful to CES and the fact that Blaine holds that 125 belt with them. Blaine's a natural 125er. He's fighting a 135 in Bellator for a few reasons: A, to stay active, and B, it's really good money. But ideally, we want to see Blaine fighting at 125, and we want to see him defending that CES belt. We just haven't been able to line up a fight with CES over the last year to get Blaine back in the cage to defend that belt. And we've been calling out and asking for Mitch Raposo. It just hasn't come to fruition. So hopefully, regardless if it's a win or a lose, Saturday night, which I'm very confident he's going to win, we would still love that fight against Raposo, the number 1 and number 2 flyweights in New England, to happen at CES for their belt, maybe sometime this summer. But it's not because Blaine's shying away. We've been trying on our end. It just hasn't come to fruition, and hopefully, we can make that happen soon.
And before this fight, Blaine had a little injury from that last Baleto fight when he basically cracked his foot. Fractured, as he says, right off the bat, which we saw with that leg kick, and that was right after the Weidman broke his leg, and then all of a sudden Blaine throws this fucking leg kick right off and just hits the shin bone. But yeah, that affected him in that fight, and he still went to a decision with a dude. They were thinking that was probably just going to run through a kid coming up a weight class, fighting on short notice, basically.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really runs through Blaine Shutt, though. That's the thing. Blaine Shutt, you see his style of fight, he's a grinder. Whether he's winning the fight or he's losing the fight, he's always grinding. He's always trying to move forward, trying to progress position, and that's just what he does. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise. It wasn't a surprise to me that he hung in there with him and took him all 3 rounds, and that's just Blaine's style. And I think we're going to see that again. It's going to be 2 grinders, I feel like, in this fight. But I don't think this kid from Fedor's camp has really seen the type of grinder that Blaine Shutt is and is progressing to be with his new tutelage from, the wrestling camp.
Excellent.
Yeah. Carolyn Wester, man, shout out to her, wrestling prep out of Virginia, but the wrestling coach at AKA. If you're into this game as much as we are, and you kind of see the strategies and training tactics that go along, check her out, because it's some unique shit, but it all fucking makes sense when you put it together. So I'm really happy, she's been involved in his camp, and we're looking to hopefully get some other guys down to train with her as well. So it's pretty cool.
Excellent, boys. Well, let's leave off with Neff, because we want to add them into the mix here, because they were, they're the week after the Cage Titan show. It was Neff's 10th decade of dominance card, where 10 years of their grind to get where they are. And we spoke about Cage Titans and how beautifully they've put together the social media portion of their their promotion and just the experience at the shows itself. Neff is one of those others. I mean, that's number 2 to me. Neff is right behind Cage Titans with, the way they treat their fighters and the way they give them the shine on social media. There's a lot of work. Mike has a lot of components working for him that bring this beautiful product out. I think Matt, has a smaller group helping him, but as they go and get more experience, he'll bring in more people, and he's just going to evolve, and it shows every card they have how much better that product gets.
Yeah, I think there's, both Cage Titans and NEF are well-oiled machines. They've both been around the game for 10 years plus, and they know the process. They do a really good job on the marketing side. They put together fights that people want to see. And, shout out to Matt Peterson and Nick DeSalvo at NEF. They do some amazing things, but they also operate in different regions. NEF is traditionally a Maine-based promotion where you're seeing a lot of Maine and New Hampshire fighters fighting up there. And then Cage Titans, you're typically seeing guys from, the Boston area, South Shore area. So they kind of pull from different, camps, if you say. But but they both do a really good job of elevating this game in our region. So shout out to them. And in NEF, I think focuses more on amateur fights. They'll have 12 amateur fights and 3 or 4 pro fights, where Cage Titans may have 6 or 7 amateur fights and 6 or 7 pro fights. So they have different business models to a degree, but both of them are great organizations to be involved with in this region when it comes to this sport, and shout out to them. So NEF, was it 45?
46.
46?
Yes.
NEF 46 on February 12th at Aura up in Portland, Maine. Although Aura has a great sound system, it's in my opinion, an awful venue to go watch a fight.
Steve loves it.
I love it.
I don't get it, man. Like,
Well,
there's no space around the cage.
Here's
just-
all right. See, you just said it right there. That's why. Look at it as a fan perspective. You're looking at it as a media guy that you don't have like. If you're
All right,
you're a fan and you
fan
want to see that,
perspective.
yeah.
Let's hear you're standing on the floor.
All right.
General admission, standing on the floor, and there's probably maybe 500 people in that space who are standing there. There's no seats. It's literally a club.
It's my life.
And the cage is elevated 10 feet.
Get the disco and the techno music going. We're in.
You can't see what's going on in that cage. You have to watch the screen. They have a massive screen behind it, so you can watch that. The sound system's fucking awesome. The best, ever. But the fact that, and I think Travis and I have talked about this, if you're a fan standing down on that floor, it's a really, you're close, but you can't really get good angles to see what's going on in the fight.
I understand that, but I think you're looking as an analyst's point of view that you want to see everything. I think people are drinking down there. They're having a ball. They're seeing little segments and like they look at the screen. I'm with them. I'm like, oh my fucking it's like, oh my god.
Steve, you've also seen where these fighters warm up back there.
Oh yeah, it's cramped as fuck. I know that.
You got 20 fights, you got 40 fighters, and all their trainers. There's no space to do shit.
Yeah, I understand that. I was down there interviewing with Chelsea, and man, they got it done. You get it done in there, and
they figure it out. It's great. It's just I don't love the venue. No, that's my only knock on NEF is that venue. Everything else they do is great.
Let me ask you a question. Why do they go to that venue? Why is that venue?
I bet you. Who knows?
Just easier for them, or
I bet you they have a good deal. It probably has something to do with finances. I'm assuming.
Well, that's business.
It's also. I mean, location-wise, it's a great spot geographically.
Right.
When it comes to me, it's right in downtown Portland, and it doesn't get better geographically than that. So that's what it kind of has going for it. But
it'd be a great spot in downtown Portland that other shows have gone to previously is the Expo. The Expo in downtown Portland can probably hold 2 or 3 times more people than Aura.
Maybe they're afraid they can't sell it out. I mean, it's a chance.
Well, the issue now is that
more money to pay for it too.
Yeah, I mean, they probably have to pay more money, and the main Celtics are in that spot. That's where they play, so maybe the logistics wouldn't work out. But besides Plymouth Memorial Hall, I think the Portland Expo in Portland is, second in terms of best venues in New England.
Excellent.
Actually, I want to bring something up real quick. Don't know how much of it about it I could talk about, but another venue. Steve, you were at the last Lion fight.
Yes.
How was that venue?
It was huge and beautiful. It was big. It was wide open and big. And they were only using like a third to half of it at Lion Fight.
Well, were they in Melrose, Steve, or were they in Wilmington?
No, I forgot where
they were at the Shriners Auditorium in Wilmington.
Yes.
And there used to be a gentleman on the local regional scene that used to promote some fights in that building. And just so it might happen again. Let's just put it that way. A good friend of ours, we've been talking, and that might be a new place to revolve New England MMA around down there in Wilmington. I won't say any more than that. People who know, and people who don't will find out very shortly. But there's going to be a new show in town pretty soon, and I'm excited to learn about it.
It's good. It's funny to say that because we lose the promotion most likely in Premier. But we're probably gaining a new promotion, which is an
Oh,
old
you
promotion.
sound
that may
like
be coming back on the
children.
scene.
It's rumors. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck your grandmother and your fucking mother and fucking we
Yeah.
go we.
Yeah, it's
Fucking
rumors.
dickhead.
Yeah, we don't know what we're talking about.
No, I have no idea. Fucking,
Yeah.
we're uneducated, but
Scumbags.
yeah, douchebags. All right. With that said, guys, last thing anyway, Lars, you want to bring up anything before we get going? From anywhere?
No, man. I mean, we got a ton of activity coming up between all, the promotions that are, going to be coming up here. We had a little bit of a downtime through Thanksgiving and Christmas, but we have, starting February 5th, we got 5 weekends of action back to back to back to back to back. And it's going to be fun. Well, we're going to be covering most of that, but, shout out to Calvin Cater, owner of Combat Zone, a local promotion. He won on a huge stage last week after a year off, and gonna give a shout out to him and his coach Tyson Chartier. It was, I actually text messaged Tyson after the fight and I said, "Hey man, congrats man, you handled it the right way." Because let's be honest, Calvin took a beating against Max Holloway a year ago, and it was like a scary beating where, God, how do you come back from that? And he was held out. He had no contact for 6 months, and eventually slowly started getting back into it. And they got this fight. Calvin, against DJ Chikadze, who's a hell of a kickboxer, and they had a great game plan, putting him on his back foot, pressuring him, not letting him getting his kicking game off. And Calvin looked the best he's ever looked after a year layoff, after taking a beating. So I just texted Tyson and was like, "Hey, I love what you did with that. That's how you manage and coach a fighter right there." So shout out to New England owned Calvin Cater, probably the best fighter to ever come out of our region, right?
Most definitely.
The cartel hat.
Yeah, most successful, and still fighting. I mean, he's got another big fight coming when he's ready to come back. So, big things ahead for him. Last thing I want to add in there, I was at No Boundary Fight over the weekend, Saturday night. Dude, it was a fucking incredible fucking show. I mean, it's not MMA, but the crowd there it just erupts. They know, they are knowledgeable what's going on in there. It was a treat. I felt really special there. No Boundary treat me really well. They put me right there. They let me stream the fights live. Not something I ever expect I'm going to do when I go to fights. I expected to interview a few fighters, take some clips, throw them on Instagram. Hey, here you go. Here's your highlights. They had me stream every fight for them. They didn't make me. They said, "You want to stream?" I fucking, I'm all over. I had my tripod in the air all fucking night. Wasn't the best quality, but you're winging it at that point. Let's get this shit out. And I have to say, people appreciated it. They tuned in. They loved it. And man, it makes this is what we do. You know what I mean? We show up places and we do things that the promotion can't do or not gonna do, and if they allow us to do it, we're gonna fucking do it and fill the gaps. And whatever they give us, we're taking. You know what I mean? And we might steal a little bit here and there too.
Yeah. No, Steve, like you killed it last week in No Boundary, and we walked this fine line of giving our viewers content that they want to see, but also not pissing off the promotions and putting things out there, because they obviously want people to buy tickets to go and see it. They want them to buy pay-per-views, and we get that. We understand that. So we need to balance that relationship with the promotions of like, all right, what can we show in terms of video? What can we show in terms of video? Streaming typically is, faux pas, but, can we show short clips and, put it out there shortly after the fight's over? It's all, it's a dance. And, some promotions allow us to dance as much as we want. Others, have other deals set up where they're violating those conditions, and we got to play by those rules. So it's, we never want to piss off the promotions. and we also want to bring content that people want to see. So it's, I think that was a great example last weekend of everything kind of coming together where they said, hey, we're sold out, go ahead and stream it. Let's see, and we got a ton of views. It was awesome. But that doesn't always work out, and we kind of play it by ear with each show that we go to.
And what we talked about today is like what we fill in the gaps for each other. You know what I mean? It's like if one of us don't know something or can't be there, the other are. So yeah, we got a good team here, always adding.
Can I get 5 minutes just to quickly run down CES 66, which is coming up?
Yeah,
Everyone,
go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick 5 minutes. I just want to run down the card because it's absolutely stacked.
Should I go to? Let me go to C. Go ahead. I'm gonna go to CS Instagram while you're doing that.
Yeah. I think Travis, to your point, like CES 66 is shaping up to be one of the best cards we've seen in a long time in New England. Like the 4 fights or 5 fights they've announced so far, they're like head turners. Like the top 3 are just 6. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. So we'll start at the bottom. One of the newest ones that just got added last night is Triforce MMA's Dion Rubio, and he is fighting Bobby Casale. Casale will be making his pro debut against Rubio, so that's one that was recently announced. We also won yesterday, or maybe the day before, came across Tyreem the Dream Da Silva against Eduardo Rodriguez. Da Silva is looking to go 2-0, both wins hopefully coming inside the CES cage. Eduardo Rodriguez is 1-1. Another decent fight. Next we have former UFC competitor, guy from up here in New Hampshire, trains with Walter Cotito Smith at the academy down there in Nashua. Joey Gomez. Joey Gomez is on here. He's fighting a Russian dude out of Canada, 6-4, tough guy. Actually has fought Jacob Bone before. Yeah, so another big name, former UFC guy in Joey Gomez. Then you got Jay the Joker Perrin.
And shout out to KTA.
Yep.
Who've had us down there before. Walter Smith Catito, Joey Gomez, those studs. It's really great to see Joey back in the cage. I had a conversation with him a year and a half ago, and it's good to see him get a matchup. So shout out to KTA.
And also, I like seeing their pictures come across to their new location with the full cage in their gym. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. And Walter promised us that while we were down there. So then we get to a bantamweight world title fight between the current reigning, will be defending his title, Jay the Joker Perrin. He is fighting one of the. This sucks for me. I love Jay Perrin more than just about any fighter on the region, but I'm higher on just about anyone than a Shekajim, who will be challenging him for the 35-pound title. And that's not it. We have
number one, Jay Perrin, number 1 in New England. Shekajim, number 5, I believe. So that's a hell of a matchup. I got that one circled.
Yep. The next one you have to have circled too. Billy Goff against Gary Baleto Jr. Probably one of the best welterweight matchups you can expect to come out of New England. This was I remember when Lars first mentioned that this matchup, or it was the first I had heard of it, I said, no way. There's no way that these two young up-and-coming prospects are going to put it all on the line in a regional organization. It's a contender fight. It's a possible UFC. They both could be in the UFC by this time next year. It's just an incredible fight. That's going to be for the 170-pound world title at CES. And then the Asian sensation Andre Kumta makes his return to CES for the first time in many, many years. He was the champion down there at bantamweight for a long, long time, and he is fighting Diego Silva, who challenged Jay Perrin for his Cage Titans bantamweight title. Well, was supposed to. It never had the title on the line, but he's fought Jay Perrin as well. So it's an absolutely stacked card. I'm excited because I think the last time Andre Sukumta fought at CES was CES 36, and I started covering CES 39. So I've actually, admittedly, never seen Andre fight live, and that's going to change for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, and they're also going back to their home turf at in Lincoln, Rhode Island. Was Twin Rivers Casino. Now it's Bally's Casino, I believe.
Valley's Twin Rivers Casino. Now,
Yeah.
I think.
So they're going back to their home turf, which is a nice, very nice venue, awesome venue. You know, we were at their last show at kind of a high school gym, and it just didn't have that CES vibe or feel. So I'm glad to see them kind of getting back into a venue that really promotes their brand, and what they put together so far is a card you cannot miss in New England. Fucking stellar matchups, and I can't wait. I can't wait for March 4th to be down there and seeing it in person. And you know, good for Jimmy Birchfield Jr. and Senior and Pat Sullivan and the whole crew down there. You know, they've been huge supporters of ours, and we'll be there to support them and promote a hell of a fucking card.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I've heard rumors that Eddie George may be on the card eventually. That might be announced eventually. I can't confirm any of that, but just looking at this card and the idea of some more up and coming undefeated prospects making it on this card, this is they're pulling out all the stops for this one. It's incredible. I can't wait for it.
Excellent. Last thing I want to say before I let you guys go or give you thank yous or whatever, social media or whatever. We're going to be trying something new as we are together in these cards. We're going to try to do our own pre-show lives right from, the computer right there. We're going to try something raw on the road at these shows, maybe, 45 minutes before the show starts when everyone starts coming in. Do a quick 25-minute, 30-minute pre-show, because I think we have a ton of knowledge together that can really break down a card once we sit together and really feeling the atmosphere in the room, getting ready to roll. So that's definitely something we're going to be doing in the future. As far as like Lars, man, you got a lot of new toys and stuff. We're all building here, getting interviews right as we flow after the show, like after the fights and everything.
Well, are we gonna do a post show too when we're at the strip club? And
Yeah, we'll do it right. We'll do it right from the pole. We'll do it right from the pole.
Maybe it's got his face buried in something.
Yeah,
that'll be the post show.
When I'm,
can we?
When this is happening,
I want people to respond to this. I want people to respond to this in the comment section. This is a pipe dream that Lars and I have had since we've been traveling on the road. We want to do a little podcast after each show when we're driving home, because we always get McDonald's drive-through.
Yeah.
And we want to rate each McDonald's drive-through that we go to while we talk about the fights that we just saw. If anyone in New England would even be remotely interested in seeing my fat ass get fatter and talk about MMA,
just put it up on. Just go live while you're driving.
Yeah, it would be epic because we literally rate the sandwiches. You know,
we rate the fries. Like the service, like we go, like we literally, and we've done this probably 10 times now. We haven't written anything down. We're like, we should really start writing this down and tracking, because we've been to like literally we get out of these shows at midnight, 1 a.m. and first of all we have to search for a fucking McDonald's that's still open, because Google will tell you it's open and it's not. And then when we find it, like typically the service you're getting at 2 a.m. at McDonald's drive-through, isn't that great?
It's one person.
Yeah.
It's one guy doing everything.
Lines to the street.
Oh yeah, but so literally the last show I did, which was
it with me and Neff when we couldn't find a place?
Yes.
Oh,
where was it? Oh no, it was Combat Zone.
Okay.
I went to Combat Zone and covered their last show, and I was starving because a lot of times we get there at like 4 or 5 o'clock and we haven't eaten dinner. And we just cover the show. I'm like, all right, we're starving. We need to get something. It's midnight. It's 1 a.m. So I left Combat Zone in Manchester, New Hampshire, and I started Googling what McDonald's are open. And I went to one in Manchester, and the line was like 20 cars deep. I'm like, not sitting in that line. It would have taken me 45 minutes. So I literally drove to 6 different McDonald's from Manchester, New Hampshire to Kittery, Maine. All of them fucking closed. And I was texting you guys the whole time. I was like, I've stopped at 6 McDonald's. Yeah. They've all been fucking closed. So I went to 7-Eleven in Kittery, Maine, and I got 2 microwave burritos. I was so fucking hungry, and I was carrying them out, happy as a pig in shit. And I dropped one on the fucking ground.
I would have picked it up.
And I picked it up. I was like, I'm eating this motherfucker. And I went in my car and I ate both those burritos, and they were delicious.
Yeah,
at
of
the
course
time,
they
but
were.
I'd rather, get a McDonald's and be able to rate it and give the fans what
Yeah,
they want.
well, that's
Yeah,
a show in
so-
the making.
I think you'll also see if we ever do this, there's a pattern in our orders. We almost have like this is our order and we stick to it. Lars usually makes the ultimate mistake of ordering an apple pie at 2 a.m. and expecting it not to taste like the carton that it came in. But yeah, and I always have way too much food because I think, when I get home, I'm gonna want another double cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But don't reheat McDonald's.
No.
He's so true. I've been ordering apple pies, and every time I get them, it's like a piece of cardboard, and you take one bite, and you're like, I can't eat this.
Yeah,
But
it's been there.
McDonald's apple pie. I just can't say no.
It's been there since noon. That's why.
The seagulls on the North Shore actually love it because Lars throws that sumbitch right out the window doing about 70 in Revere.
You remember that's in Anchorman when Will Ferrell's eating a burrito while driving in the car.
It sounds
and
like-
he takes one bite and he's like, "Oh, I'm so full." And he chucks it out the window and it's a full burrito. That's like me with an apple pie. After
It sounds like one of our fucking messenger fucking chats, man. Get the
but
fuck
Travis
out.
does order like $40 of food and eats like $30 of it.
I eat like 38 of it. I eat 38 of it, and then I just have to stop because I know I'm not going to make it home if I eat that last burger.
But we critique this food like it's gourmet,
Yeah,
like
because you're
Michelin star
starving out
type
of your-
of restaurant.
You're starving
Like
out of your mind.
Well, we rate the fries, we rate the sandwiches, we rate the service, and then we rate it all as like one, experience.
Whole experience, yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty great. I mean, it's rare that you get over like a 7.2 at 2 a.m., but we're passionate about it, man. We're just as passionate about 2 a.m. McDonald's as we are MMA.
It's always McDonald's. Is that where it's going to be the McDonald's rating?
Yeah, it's going
For
to be
now?
McDonald's.
All right.
That's all we ever find at that time of night, and it's just one of those. It's just literally you get out, you throw your computer in the car, you start the car, and you put McDonald's in the fucking GPS, and you find the next one that's open. That's what we do.
Well, and that's part of the problem. That should be in our ratings as well. Is like accessibility, because oftentimes you go on Google or there, it says, "Oh, it's open till 2 a.m. Yeah, go check it out," and you get there and it's fucking closed.
Yeah.
Or
so
just
it's
as special hours due to COVID, and it's like, are we gonna try that?
That's part of
Right.
the rating. If they're closed, you can't rate them.
part of the rating. It's like you're rolling the dice, accessibility, and sometimes we get out So now we're kind of getting a better feel to McDonald's local to where a lot of these fights happen, like in Plymouth. We know we can grab one close by. Manchester is a shit show. Don't try to get McDonald's at 2 a.m. in Manchester. It's not even worth it. You'll end up getting fucking 7-Eleven,
Shanked.
fucking burritos. So.
Sorry. All right, let's.
Oh man, we went down a rabbit hole. I love this.
Yeah, let's get
Yeah.
out of here. It's like I gotta go. It's 9:14. We went like a fucking. Where'd we go? When'd we start? 8
Yeah,
o'clock. We're over an hour. We're supposed to go fucking 40 minutes.
All I know is it's 9:14 and McDonald's is still open.
All right, and I'm going to one of those on the way home because I'm starving. I'm eating fucking pumpkin seeds now. So, all right. With that said, are we done here?
Yeah, we're
Oh,
done.
yeah.
All
I
right.
think
So
we're done.
tomorrow,
Peace out, New England.
another podcast, and then I'm interviewing. Nice. I'm interviewing Kevin Walsh tomorrow, who'll be fighting for Boston Boxing Promotions, and then I got our own Brendan Boats on Friday. Not live. We're gonna do a recorded interview about him entering the cage at 72. So
Yeah, he's too sexy to have on live.
yeah, that dude's
Brendan-
he's got abs of fucking steel. That
Alright.
guy.
Dude, he is ripped.
The
That
guy's
was such an old man, and he's in trouble. He's gonna go fight this young
Yeah.
kid, and then he posts a picture, and it's a
Adonis.
80-year-old head on a 13-year-old's body, and he's ripped.
they're a 13-year-old.
What are you out of your mind?
16-year-old.
That on like a fucking like a middle school wrestler. He's just like,
He's got the ass of a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I didn't
All
go
right,
that far.
another rabbit hole. All right,
He's
with that,
100%. It's
all right.
100% beef.
all right, guys.
Brendan Motorboats, but we
Yeah.
also were trying to help him with his nickname. I love motorboats, but he was also kind of waffling on like Brendan Cox everywhere boats. He just has this thing with Cox being everywhere. It was just really weird. So regardless, he's gonna kill it.
That's a story for another
February
day.
10th.
Next podcast together. We'll go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
In Cox everywhere boats.
I walked in, there was cocks everywhere. I almost killed everyone.
Let's leave it. That's a cliffhanger. That is a cliffhanger.
So with that said, don't go away. I'm just stopping them, whatever's going on there. All right, people, tune in tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Jake Hickson-Bow? Bowo. How do you say his last? Ba. And Arthur Pufu will be on talking Cage Titans 51 and their fight. Arthur has a title fight. And Jake is making his pro debut. So we'll have them on. And like I said, I got a couple of more interviews before the weekend. And then next week we are blowing it up again with probably trying to get a couple of CES guys on, a couple of more Cage Titans guys on, some Neff people in. It's a busy fucking couple of weeks coming, guys. So with that said, don't go anywhere. I'm going to hit the intro music and get the fuck out of here.